Hi, Pat Battle here from Living Web Farms, back with the next installment of our Resilience Daily series, which we're doing in collaboration with the Organic Growers School. And right now we're going to talk about weeds and the cultivars that we've developed from them. So this is callaloo in the Caribbean. This is pigweed, or amaranth, in Yancey County or the rest of western North Carolina. Considered a really impossible weed. But delightful eating. High protein, incredibly abundant. You should be able to harvest the weed all summer with no real effort. Or you can plant callaloo and get even more in each picking. The callaloo plants last year got about 6 to 7 feet tall, and I would snap off a branch on the end and have a bunch that I could eat. And it would just reshoot a couple different branches back in that place. They also make lots of seed, which you could actually collect, and it is amaranth. You could eat it. I haven't done that yet. I don't know how much you'd get if you were taking it for greens, but I did get one seed from the experimental farm, one type of amaranth seed from the Experimental Farm Network, and they said you can get up to a pound of amaranth seed per plant. So that's a lot of grain, and it's very high protein. Some people think it's a superfood. So amaranth is easy to identify because of the shape of its leaf, and you can see it's a little different here. This is a little more pointy than those are. And this is wanting for nutrients. It's going to seed because it hasn't been planted. It will be dark green once it gets in the ground. It'll be that color. But what really gives it away is the red stem. In the mountains, one of its names is redroot. Now you should know that there are a few things that are called redroot. And so I wouldn't count on that as a name. You would go with the Latin name, or at least say amaranth if you're trying to describe it to somebody. But if you said amaranth to a lot of mountain people, they wouldn't know what you meant. Anyway, we're going to pull this up so you can see that this plant also has a red root, if I can get it to come up without leaving its root in the ground. And the nice thing about this plant, if you were really trying to preserve it and get a lot, you could stick this guy back in. It would wilt down and it would come right back. You wouldn't have to take the leaves off like I always do and stuff. It's not going to die. It's an incredibly tough plant. I want to warn you, there's one version of it that is probably my least favorite weed in the world, and that is spiny amaranth. It has long, translucent, hard to see, incredibly hard, sharp spikes. And if you're weeding and you grab that without noticing it, it is painful. So that's probably one of the few weeds that I really put major efforts into not letting go to seed in my garden. You could eat those leaves, but boy, you might get torn up trying to eat them. So watch out for the spiky amaranth, but eat your pigweed, amaranth, or as they say in the Caribbean, callaloo. And maybe even plant some callaloo.